Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's another chat to get ready with me today, and I'm very, very excited about today's. And that is because today I am finally getting to sit down with y'all and tell you that I am starting HRT, or hormone replacement therapy. For those at home who are not aware, I am non-binary, and that means I don't identify as a man or a woman. This does fall under the umbrella of being trans, and what that looks like differs for every single person. So this is really just my experience and my life as someone who is non-binary and trans. And for me, I know I'm at the point where I am ready for HRT, or hormone replacement therapy, as part of those goals. I've actually been on HRT for about 2 months already. I didn't want to announce it right away when I started because I wanted some time to enjoy the initial experience and adjust the initial experience kind of on my own. I didn't necessarily want to let the whole internet in on that immediately. Especially because HRT was a really big decision for me. It's something that I've been thinking about for many, many years, probably close to 4 or 5 years now. And so deciding to actually pull the trigger and move forward with starting it was a really big choice. But now it's been about 2 months and I'm feeling really good about being on it and about my progress. And I really want to start sharing my experience with you. And I've seen a lot of folks talk about and share their experiences as trans men and trans women with HRT, but I haven't seen as many non-binary voices talking about their experience and their time with HRT, which for me, in doing my research on deciding to start HRT, definitely did make things a little bit more difficult. And so I would like to add my voice in to those that are speaking up about this for me. And for a lot of folks, when they heard this decision, their question was well, you're non-binary, so why are you going on HRT if you're not looking for a full transition? And again, everyone's experiences are different. Trans and non-binary people are not a monolith. But for me, I really enjoy certain levels of androgyny, and okay, so no non-binary person owes you androgyny. People can be non-binary and present however they want. It is totally individual. My individualized experience with being non-binary is wanting to look like something that is a blend of both genders, along with being something outside of gender. And I've talked about this before and related it to imagery of elves and fairies and angels and these ethereal magical creatures that look both feminine and masculine in a way that seems to set them outside of the gender binary entirely. And that I feel is almost the ideal direction I'm heading in. And these fantastical creatures who seem to blur and combine all these different parts of what we consider to be gendered traits. And there is a level of androgyny there that I find really enjoyable and really appealing. And for me, HRT is the next step in that happening. For me, there's quite a lot about HRT that's very exciting. I'm very excited, probably the most, about body recomposition and facial recomposition. So for me, I'm taking testosterone. I'm starting off very low dose. That way it's very easy for me to monitor my changes slowly and pause if I need to, if I feel things are happening too quickly for me, and just kind of go about it in a little bit of a slower process than I think a lot of folks, especially a lot of trans men, find desirable, who are ready for all of those changes right away. I am not. I would like my changes to come more slowly. But body recomposition, so redistributing the fat on my body in more masculine ways. It's been about 2 months, and I'm definitely noticing a pretty quick increase in muscle growth. I'm also going to the gym, so that helps. But I'm seeing my shoulders and my arms get larger and wider, and kind of starting to get that Dorito shape, that tapered shape. And also, I'm not really seeing it too much yet, but I know I will, some masculinizing changes to my face. So the redistribution of fat and tissue around the face in a way that kind of creates a more masculine structure. Some changes around the eyes and the orbital socket and around the jaw. So I'm very excited for that. I'm honestly both excited and nervous for body hair. I'm really excited for body hair in certain areas and not so much in others. Fortunately, because I'm starting so low dose, I haven't dealt with too many body hair changes just yet. My hair is definitely growing in a little quicker than before, but we're low dose, we're early on, so we're not really seeing too much more than I'm now, you know, shaving the tails of my eyebrows off every day instead of every other day. I know a lot of folks can be nervous about bottom growth, but I'm actually incredibly excited for bottom growth, and we're only 2 months on, and let me tell you what, bottom growth is here. It's happening. It's around, and I am thrilled about it. My anatomy has already changed so much that there are previously piercings that I never could have gotten that I now have beyond perfect anatomy for in just 2 months. So that's wild. And if there were ever someone who was super dedicated and just wanting more genital piercings, you could just do a couple months on T and have the anatomy for all the genital piercings you could want pretty quickly, depending on your body. There are some changes that I'm not thrilled about. I've been really struggling with hormonal acne, especially since starting T. I have these 2 areas along my jawline that have been breaking out very badly. If you've noticed in a lot of my videos on here, I haven't been wearing makeup as much anymore, or at all, and that is because I have been really struggling with my skin. I knew acne was something that was going to come along with this, and fortunately I have a fantastic esthetician who I've been working with who's been helping me keep it under control, and we finally have it at a place where it's not doing too bad. So, you know, it comes with it. This is second puberty, so some acne is normal, but overall I've been able to manage it very well. And then I'm pretty neutral on vocal changes. I don't feel like I've noticed any vocal changes yet, but we'll see if that changes as time goes on. But the biggest thing in this whole process for me has been like the body recomposition and the changes, and I'm already seeing that so much and feeling a difference that it's been amazing. And then, unintended side effect, but the mood boost and the emotional improvement of being on HRT is, it is something else. It is unreal. I feel so much more confident, so much more at home in my body, and I don't know if it's like just the effect that the testosterone has mentally, like legitimately on like the chemical balance of my brain, or if it's just the excitement of seeing my body and feeling my body starting to reflect how I feel inside. But you know, I've made it no secret that I have struggled with mental health and mental illness for most of my life, and struggled with things like suicide and suicidal ideation, and boy howdy, it turns out being to live as your most authentic self and being able to explore being who you are, and taking that path the way that you want to take it is phenomenal for your mental health and makes you feel a lot better. And even when I have days where I still struggle with depression and negative emotions, and I still struggle with difficult feelings, it is not the same as it used to be. And I am building such a better relationship with my mind and also with my body since I have started testosterone. It is unreal. Now, as far as actually getting HRT, I think a thing that had stopped me from doing this for so long was feeling intimidated by the process of like seeing doctors and getting prescribed this and dealing with all of that. And I definitely have some medical trauma. I've had some really bad experiences with doctors and hospitals. Not as bad as some, but bad enough to make me wary. And I was very nervous about the whole process, and understandably so. You do hear a lot of horror stories with people seeking out gender affirming care and things like that, and I totally get it. For me, I decided to go with Plume for my hormones and my gender affirming care, and it has been just the most amazing process. Plume is an app that you can use to get prescriptions for HRT, and to get medical care and things like that. And at first, I will not lie, I was a little skeptical. I was like, oh, an app, like, how's it going to compare to actually seeing a doctor in person? Do I feel like I'm going to get the same level of care? All those factors, which I think are important factors to question and ask and things like that. But due to my hiatus and like some weird stuff with shifting work, I'm in a period where like I'm not gonna have health insurance for a couple of months, and then I will. And I like there's no avoiding that. I'm just going to not have health insurance for a couple months and then I will. But with guesting and traveling, I'm traveling a whole bunch to work. So it can be really hard for me to make it to in-person doctor's appointments. They a lot of times don't align with my schedule and all of my travels. So one of the things that I ended up really loving about Plume is that it's an application. So I can do a lot of my meetings and my doctor's appointments virtually through Zoom and through, voice calls and video calls and communicate with my doctors that way. And while I was really skeptical if telehealth would be the same level of care as like in-person treatment and stuff, it's actually been fantastic. And like all of my nurses and the people who have helped me with it, and even my doctor, are all also trans or non-binary. And obviously they have some cisgendered staff working for them, but I was like shocked by the amount of trans folks and non-binary folks who are working for them, and that makes me feel really good because they were really on top of things like my pronoun usage and working with me when it came to like what I was looking for and my goals, and being respectful about my goals as non-binary and really thoughtful. And I'm just having a really, really amazing experience so far. So if you've been considering this and maybe there's not a clinic in person in your area, or maybe like me, getting to in-person doctor's appointments isn't really super accessible for you, I cannot recommend Plume highly enough. I am deeply, deeply, deeply enjoying the experience of working with them so far. Now, I know obviously most of my content on my channel surrounds making content about piercings and body modification, but I really feel like making more content surrounding being trans and more gender affirming content. And I want to know if that's content that y'all would be interested in seeing me do more of. And that leads me into the other thing that I wanted to talk about in this video, which is that I have kind of been putting off making this video and making this announcement about starting HRT. And that's because if you have an internet connection and are anywhere online right now, you know that the political climate here in America has been terrible, but has become extra terrible. And specifically, there's been a lot of really targeted attacks on trans people and non-binary people. There's been a lot of legislature introduced to limit our access to care, to limit our equal treatment and our equal rights, especially in public spaces. And it's just a really difficult time. There are constantly people and leaders in communities and religions calling for lots of really terrible stuff that, I don't need to tell people about because you probably already know, or you can Google it. We're going to try and keep this video a little more lighthearted. But I've been scared. Because I do have a presence online and I do sometimes get recognized in public. And so far it's all been amazing interactions with fantastic followers, and I love it every time. But I'd be lying if I didn't say there wasn't a part of me that was worried that it might not always be great interactions, and that the more content I make about being non-binary and being trans and being on hormones, the higher the likelihood that I get recognized in public by someone who I really don't want to recognize me, who is going to say mean or hurtful things or do mean or hurtful things. But I realize that while those risks are there, and they are risks that anyone who's talking about their transition and their experience publicly takes, it also takes our voices talking about this and normalizing this and sharing in our experiences and sharing in our joy to help reach other people, to help inspire others who maybe aren't ready to come out yet, or maybe having this struggle themselves, or to reach people who maybe aren't sure how they feel about trans folks and non-binary folks and what's going on, and to show them who we are and, why we do this and what it means to us. And I really want to use my platform to do good and make an impact. And I know that I can do that through education, but I also think that I can do that through simply sharing my life and living authentically, and hopefully allowing that to reach and inspire other non-binary folks and other trans folks who are struggling with the same thing, and to also share that with other people who follow me who maybe don't fall into those communities. So I think at least once or twice a month here on YouTube, I'd like to start making more content about my transition and about my journey and about how things are going for me, and share more of that side of it with you. And hopefully sharing a little bit of my own slice of life and joy and authenticity helps others connect with that and inspires others. I had a really fantastic session with my therapist today where Dr. A reminded me that sometimes just being yourself and living your most authentic self and being proud and out about who you are, especially in a community and an industry like piercing that has struggled with transphobia for so long is doing something and is doing enough. And that really reminded me that there is a power in just being who you are openly and sharing who you are with other people. So thank you for sitting down with me today and allowing me to share this really exciting next step in my journey with you. And thank you for the coming videos and content that I'll be making and allowing me to share this part of who I am with you all. And I cannot wait to sit down and chat again soon and talk more about my journey and how things are going with me and just kind of take you along with me in this experience of helping my body and my outside reflect what and who it is that I am inside. I cannot wait to sit down and talk with you more about this and share more of this side of myself with y'all, and I wish you the absolute most magical, fantastic day. Bye.